Hello friends, I'm back with another video. Today I'm gonna be doing some sketchbook doodles. I haven't used any acrylic markers in a while, so what I'm actually gonna do is ARRTX sent me these, so I'm gonna give these a go. I've got their other 90 color set. Okay, so it's interesting because nowhere on the package it says which set this is, unless I'm blind and I can't see. I know that this one I think is for the landscapes. So it has 90 colors, 90 acrylic markers, and yeah, I'm excited to try these out. What I have been doing in the past is I use this sketchbook by ARRTX as well, and I do my swatches in here because it's a nice large sketchbook. And also I just been, because I think this sketchbook is meant for acrylic markers, so I've just been constantly using it in this. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do some swatches. In the meantime, here is what you get in the box. You get 90 lovely markers. You also get a little sticker like swatches, numbers, so that you can put them on. What people usually do is put them on the edge here or here, so that they always know what the marker number is instead of just looking at the bottom. I usually actually don't put anything on the sides. What I do is I will use these in the swatches. So here is my swatch book, and I've done some illustrations in this. So this is the very first SimTap set that ARRTX sent me to try, and of course this sketchbook as well. You can watch this video on my page. Here is the 90 piece ARRTX set that I tried, and yeah, here's some of the illustrations that I did for that. Again, you can find these videos on my page. And then here is another one. So this is the ARRTX saturated liquid ink acrylic markers, the 60 set, which are lovely as well. I think those are my favorite, or some of my favorite. And then here is another page of illustrations. But yeah, usually what I did was I just used these little stickers to stick on the page instead of writing them out, because it just takes such a long time. It's one of the most tedious tasks to swatch everything, but it's very satisfying in the end when you do. So fun fact about acrylic markers, they will not bleed through anything. They are super opaque and pigmented, and they are basically acrylic in a pen. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do my swatches now. What the hell are these? That's not even close. Hello friends, I'm back on the floor in the living room because it's still hot in the UK. And yeah, I prepared these sketches. It's been about a few days since I tested these out. I'm gonna try and color these in. I'm gonna go for like a green and pink theme, so that I can test out some of my favorite colors. And as you can see, this set has a bunch of lovely pink shades as well as lovely greens. Look at these three, those are fantastic, and I can't wait to try them. So if you didn't know, you can actually, that was a mistake, you can actually pull these little trays out. You get 3 in these 90 sets, and basically you can have them easier accessible on your desk if you pull them out. Start off with the little droplets. I haven't used acrylic markers in a while, but these are so juicy. Oh my god, I love acrylic markers. I always forget how much fun these are, but it's always such a good time when I use them. You can blend them out. I did try blending them out with water and a brush, and it actually does work. You can. Okay, it's time to try this gorgeous green. So I'm just gonna go into these little pothos inspired leaves. I had a pothos plant in front of me when I was doing these sketches, and I actually drew this guy first. I didn't film any of the process because it was a very spontaneous like drawing sesh, so I just carried it on, and I was like, you know what, this actually I need to fill in the whole page because this would be perfect to try acrylic markers on. And you know what, it was the right call. Because this is really, really fun. Now I'm gonna try this 670. It's so nice. It's like this like leafy green, but like more what is it, chartreuse color? It's one of my favorite colors, that like goldy green type color, so this is really exciting. As you can see, my method for these is quite like messy. I'm literally just going in and laying in the shapes, and I'm not too worried about the accuracy. I'm being quite like painterly with them, more so than being like staying in the lines and like having dedicated outline and line work and stuff like that. I'm being quite like, yeah, I suppose like a bit messy and a little bit maybe abstract, you could say. And I have been really enjoying doing that instead of being like too precise. But yeah, it's fun. I really enjoy acrylic markers. I really don't use them enough, but they're so perfect for sketchbooking because you don't have to wait too long for anything to dry. They dry quite quickly, so you're really able to just smash these little pieces out if you wanted to, and it works really well. I think this set they actually have added some more of like darker colors because that green is actually pops quite a lot, doesn't it? I feel like the past sets have been quite like, I don't know if monotone is the correct word, but like the saturation just wasn't there. And I'm a big fan of what I'm looking at right now. I think this green is my favorite. It's such a beautiful green. Wow. I'm a big fan. And I love how acrylic markers do cover pencil as well. Sometimes I notice that it kind of struggles and kind of makes the pencil bleed in a sense, like smudges it, but I'm not actually noticing that much of a difference here. Look at this deep, deep green. Wow. ARRTX have really upped their game with this one. Wow. That is stunning. Okay, let's try these pinks. Okay, so I've been working on this for a couple of days now, and I think it's time to finish it. So I haven't noticed any like changes in the pens themselves. I think maybe if I like think about it more and like try and compare. The problem is that I'm not like comparing side to side, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to gauge what the differences are. However, I'm not noticing anything crazy, but I think these pens are, I think this set itself, the colors are absolutely stunning. So I think I'm already biased in that sense because these colors are, and like I mentioned earlier, there's like darker tones now. I feel like that green there is really dark. Like, look at it, it's like actually dark and not like a milky color, if that makes sense. Same as this like dark purpley color. I'm a big fan of that. And yeah, I'm really enjoying these markers. It's taken me a little while because I haven't used acrylic markers in a good few months, I think. But it's always such a pleasure to try. And again, thank you ARRTX for sending me these. Once again, I try and be as honest as I can in my reviews, so yeah. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about these. None of my markers specifically. I know sometimes people have had issues about their markers being like dried out or the lids aren't fitting properly, things like that. I've encountered in the past, but I'll say that none of the sets that I've bought myself in the past before the companies decided to like send me some of their stock to try, I have bought multiple sets from ARRTX myself, and none of the times any of the markers have dried on me. None of the times the markers have been dry when I receive them. I think that might be a very, very rare occurrence and a genuine like error. I don't think that's something that happens often because there's no chance that I've had so many sets and I've tried them all and I haven't received any. To talk about more of the markers and what they look like, I feel like everybody that's used acrylic markers or have seen these specifically, these are your most like popular acrylic markers. I feel they're very recognizable, the name ARRTX and the design of the pens themselves. I love this design. I've never had anything bad to say about it. I think it's very clean, very nice. You get all the information. Of course, you get the numbers. They have improved over the sets, of course, listening to the artists that review them, and instead of doing the stickers that you stick on yourself, they've decided to print the number on on the tip of the pen, which is amazing, so you don't have to worry about that. Of course, you get the additional sticker with the number, like I use them just for my swatches, but yeah, again, I genuinely don't have anything really bad to say about these. Like, I really enjoy using these. I think the color selection in this set is absolutely stunning as well. Again, it's literally the perfect set for me. I feel like the colors are so, so beautiful. And I do believe this is the landscape and the landscape set. And I do feel like this one is the closest to the colors that I would, you know, be more interested in, because I don't know, like I do love illustrating with these acrylic markers, especially in my sketchbooks, and sometimes it's difficult to use colors that you just don't want to pick up in a sense. So yeah, as you can see also, I haven't addressed any of the colorways. I've kind of just been doodling away after work every night, but I wanted to talk about the colors that I've chosen. So as you can see, I've kind of got this like blue green and pink theme going on. Initially I wanted to use only the pink and the green combo, but then I decided I actually want to explore these blues as well, because I think those are the most important in this set, and they're the newer colors as well. I did compare a little bit on the older set that I've got versus this one, and there is quite a few new colors in this. Again, some of them do overlap, which, you know, isn't a problem. You'll get extra colors, especially the most popular ones, but yeah, I love these. I can't wait to doodle some more. But yeah, I also think that the colors do complement each other quite nicely. You get all of the softness and whimsy from the pink ones, and then the blue and the green is great to test, because then you can gauge of what you can do. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with these. But I also wanted to mention that the more you use your markers, the more the nibs are gonna like lose shape a little bit, which is inevitable. I don't think there's anything specifically that you can do to change that. I think that just is what's gonna happen, especially because the nibs are so flexible and soft, you know, the brush nibs. And it's just something that just is going to happen. I feel like people have complained about it before. I don't really see that as much of an issue for myself, just because I think, you know, sometimes I even prefer the softer nibs. Of course, you might lose a bit of shape at the very tip, but I haven't had too much of an issue. Maybe it's more of an issue if you do like more rougher surfaces. I think doing it on paper primarily will, you know, keep it quite nice and tight, but I don't know. I haven't run in many issues, and I used to use acrylic markers a lot. These ones, again, I can't judge that on, because I'll need to test them out for longer than a few weeks. Okay, so I'll be honest, I've been holding out on the wings because I just don't know what colors to make them, because I feel like we've already got all three colors here. We've got the green, the blue, and the pink for the main character, but I just don't know what to do for the wings, so I don't know. I feel like it has to be like a blue color, I suppose. Maybe blue and the lighter greens. But I don't know. I don't want to make it like too crazy, so... Oh. 606 is quite aqua. I thought it would be a little bit more this color. This color is gorgeous. I'm so like in love with this color. So you still get your like periwinkle colors in this set as well. You get the purples. You get the 425 and 422. This one is definitely at the top of the list of my favorite colors. And you know what? I've actually like, this is kind of like reminding me of like the sea blue colored pencil that I've got, which is also this same color. And you know what color goes really well with this? Red. So maybe I should make something red so I can use this like I do when I use pencils, where I can just come in and add some details or something. So what's great with acrylic markers as well is that the first layer you do, you can still see the sketch underneath. I think that's really helpful, especially if you're doing something a bit more detailed where you need the extra layers, the extra visibility of your sketch, which is cool. Yeah, I'm super happy with that blue. I think I did the right choice, but I think I'm gonna bring in like some other colors to kind of blend them in slightly. So I feel like for the little circles, definitely need something a bit more brighter, so maybe adding in something like the greens. Maybe I'll just do it for all of them and then I can redo them in a different color. something like that to like break the shape. Oh, I like the mix of the colors there. Okay, I feel like it's missing some details and stuff, so I'm just gonna grab my pencils. Yeah, I feel like the pencils do layer quite nicely over the acrylic markers as well. It's a nice way of layering your media, especially to get like those finer details, which might be a little bit more difficult with the brush nib. Yeah, see, you can even do some coloring in as well, shading. Okay, I think I have finally finished this one. I finished off the pencils and I think it looks really, really pretty. And I love the colors and the way that they play together. I think it's pretty cool. I'm kind of feeling like I went really technical with a bunch of details, small, tiny little drawings. So I thought maybe I could explore and do something a bit more organic in this larger sketch. Again, I feel like I haven't really done much in this one. I've done this page, and then as you can see, there's just like a bunch of blanks and a bunch of the tests. Let me see what I can find for reference, and I kind of just want to doodle it. Okay, I found the image that I want to draw. It's actually my grandma's chicken, and I took this picture last year when I was over there in Latvia. So I want to draw this little beauty. Another thing, so this picture it's got roses at the top. So I'm gonna zoom in for the chicken, and then I will bring these roses down so that they're kind of like more around all of the green. So I'm gonna go ahead and sketch it out first with my pencil. I'm not gonna do anything for the background. I'm just gonna try and do it as organic as I can. And yeah, let's see what I can draw up. I'm not gonna focus too much on the details. I just wanna make it super, like, I don't know, maybe experimental is the wrong word, but just wanna mess around with some colors and see what happens basically. And this sketchbook is also by ARRTX, and it's got such lovely paper. If you are looking for a sketchbook that's, you know, pretty much for acrylic markers, this sketchbook is the one. It handles the acrylic markers so good, and I love the way that the markers sit on top of it. Just like the texture of the paper is so different. It's kind of like, it's hard to explain. It's got this tiny bit of texture which makes it really, really cool to draw on, but it doesn't have that much texture for it to be really overwhelming. I love it for acrylic markers, and I do need to draw more in it, but it just feels like sometimes, because I don't use the sketchbook as my regular sketchbook, it just feels like I'm, you know, not doing enough in my other sketchbook, so I kind of just try and focus on one thing at a time pretty much. But yeah, I do need to use this sketchbook more. I think it's perfect for acrylic markers. So I actually very rarely use the black acrylic marker. I quite literally never find the time to use it, but since this chicken is black, but you know, in the picture it's actually quite interesting. In the picture you can see all of the other colors like reflecting and shining through, so it's really, really fascinating to look at this chicken. I really like chickens, and I can't wait to maybe one day have my own. And yeah, I find them so fascinating. They're such like intriguing little individuals. My grandma doesn't have many chickens now. She used to have a whole coop load, but she doesn't keep many anymore because she's getting older and she just doesn't have the need for them. I know the story about a few of her chickens. I know that she had maybe around 10, and then the foxes came, and you know what happens, they got into the coop, and then she didn't have many chickens. She had a couple left, and then she didn't want any more. She said she's just gonna keep the ones that she has, and that's it, no more chickens. But because in Latvia, I believe a relative had some, I can't remember whether it was flooding or it was also foxes that got into the chicken coop, and she didn't have many left. I think she only had 2, and then she brought them ones to my grandma, and I believe this chicken is one of them. And yeah, I just love how my grandma just lets them roam throughout the gardens, because she has a really big, beautiful garden, and she just lets the chickens roam in it because they collect all the pests, and they'll, you know, pick up ticks. Chickens are extremely good for ticks. They will eat so many, like, in an hour. So yeah, I do love chickens, and they're just awesome. And they're so fascinating to watch them digging through everything. And my grandma also, I remembered that she was hatching chickens a few years back, and one of the hens, like, didn't want one of her eggs. So my grandma brought it inside, and she, over winter as well, maybe that was the reason why my grandma found it really late. It hadn't hatched, and then she didn't want the egg to die, so then she kept it inside with her, and she incubated it, and she hatched a little chicken. And yeah, she just lived inside the whole winter until spring. She let it out, but that chicken lived with a dog, with a little sausage dog, and also a cat, and they just got along. And now that chicken, like, she'll come up to you. She's not too scared of people. She prefers my grandma, of course, but she doesn't, like, scare easily as the other chickens. And yeah, the other one isn't, well, to be fair, none of the chickens are scared of any of the dogs. Grandma's got a couple of dogs, so I don't know. It's fascinating how, like, used to the other animals these chickens are as well. Like, they just don't mind being around the cats or the dogs or the people too much either. Like the pictures that I took here, they were pretty close up as well, so it was really interesting. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your love and support. And thank you, ARRTX, for sending me these lovely markers. I really enjoyed using them. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.